What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host Donovan Quick, and we got some unfortunate news for the Dolphins today. We already saw one of these things coming. The other one kind of like, damn, that sucks, right? And the first one, Emmanuel Ogbah, saw that coming from a mile away. I saw that coming last offseason. Everybody thought we may have cut him last offseason. I'm like, no, if you look at it, we're going to be like 15 million in dead money and only 3 million in savings if we cut him last offseason. Whereas if we cut him this offseason, there's no dead money. We save $16 million. Very easy decision, honestly, by the Dolphins. And I saw it coming last year, so I'm not surprised at all by this. I don't know where he's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to the Chiefs. He's going to be one of the cheaper guys. He fell down all the way to our fourth-string pass rusher. He was our only defensive end on roster because he just doesn't move like that, right? He's not going to sit back and go in coverage. Now, given I'm not a big fan of the 3-4 scheme as far as like having guys like Chubb and Phillips go into coverage, but that's just my opinion anyway. They're pass rushers. They should be pass rushing. That's why I like the 4-3 a little bit better. But yeah, with that being said, I'm not surprised at all by this. What I was a little bit surprised about, and it became a little less surprising in, this past week, Dolphins have informed Xavier Howard that he's going to be a post-June 1st cut, and it sucks. It sucks as Dolphins fans. He's been here 8 years. He made 4 straight Pro Bowls from 2019 to 2022. 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. So it really sucks. It really sucks that we're going to have to see him go. And this one, meanwhile, I say that Emmanuel Ogbah wasn't surprising at all. This one was a little surprising to me because of how his contract works. Now, everybody knows, if you're a Dolphins fan, you follow really closely, Xavier Howard was never taking a pay cut for this team. And I can understand that. I can respect that. This is a business. Why wouldn't they just, make that into a signing bonus? Like, why am I taking a pay cut? Would you give me more guaranteed money? That kind of thing. And it just didn't work out. He's always been about the money, and I can't really blame him. He's been one of the best corners. He was the highest paid corner in the league. Then we signed Byron Jones, made him the highest paid corner in the league, and he's like, I want out. I'm better than Byron Jones. Why am I being paid less on my own team? So he's always been about the money. I can respect it. I don't like it as a fan, but I can definitely respect it. But the money doesn't really make sense for the Dolphins too much, in my opinion, past this year, right? So he had 2 years left on his deal. This year, it's $15.7 million. This year is $7.4 million in dead cap with an $18.5 million in savings. However, next year is $15.7 million in dead cap with, and we're not going to really have any savings because it was fully guaranteed next year. So with that being said, we're losing $15.7 million next year. We're losing $22 million overall, and we're missing a top 15, top 20 cornerback. And missing having that cornerback duo be like that. And I understand that we've only had one successful season of having an elite cornerback duo, right? We tried it with Byron Jones. Him and Byron Jones made this a top 3 defense in the entire NFL when Brian Flores was calling it. Then Byron Jones got hurt, and then we released Byron Jones. So then we were without Byron Jones, and we got Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey got hurt when he came back. Then Xavier Howard got hurt. So you only played 5 games together. So you never really saw how they could be so successful together. And it sucks. It really does. And, he might end up going to Houston, his hometown. That's what the major rumors are right now. So he could be a part of another fantastic duo with Stingley Jr. over there, or Stingley the third. But let's get into the nitty gritty. Who's going to replace these guys, right? As far as Emmanuel Ogbah goes, he was 4th string. He's going to be easily replaceable. Maybe not like four stringers don't really come around to be as talented as he is, but I could definitely see a world where Andrew Van Ginkel can be re-signed. It was reported this morning that him and the Dolphins have mutual interest. However, he's going to be highly touted by a lot of different teams around the league as, okay, this is going to be like a low-end starter, high-end backup that's probably going to go for around $8, $9, $10 million this year. That's just what it is. There's nothing that you can really, say to combat that. Now, you go to Xavier Howard. I would spend more time on Emmanuel Ogbah, but he's a four stringer. There's not really too much you really got to do. Xavier Howard. There's going to be quite a few veterans that are actually really good veterans that are going to be available. And once again, doesn't make too much sense to me to be bringing in one of these guys that I'm saying in order to replace him when you're going to be paying the same, if not more, for them. So, off top rip, you have L'Jarius Sneed, was just one of the best corners in the entire league last year. Just won a Super Bowl. Maybe Tyreek can, get him over here, but he was balling. Jalen Johnson, free agent. I'll tell you what their estimates are, but I don't think this is anywhere near what they're going to, especially with the cap being increased to as much as it is. L'Jarius Sneed is projected $16.3 million per year. I don't think, though. I think he's going to get somewhere around 20. Jalen Johnson, 15.7. He's still young. I think he's going to get somewhere around 24. Kendall Fuller, he's okay. He's projected 14.1. I can definitely see a world where he gets around 14, maybe 16. Adoree Jackson, he's a little washed. It is what it is. Stephon Gilmore is projected $11.1 million. This would be an interesting one to bring in. Stephon Gilmore was just part of one of the best cornerback duos last year with the Cowboys. Very underrated. He also, when he was on the Colts, very underrated. And I don't know how he can be underrated when he won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I don't. And he's still been balling there and just been on Gill Island over there. I'm going to steal that. I don't care. Like, that's how good he's been. He's a Hall of Fame corner. Steven Nelson. Gonna be honest, I have no idea who that is. He's projected 10.2. Kenny Moore and Awuzie are both also free agents, and they can be in the realm of $11-12 million as well. And I don't really know too much about Kenny Moore. I could definitely say Awuzie might be a pretty good option for this defense because it's going to be a much more balanced defense than in the past 5 years. So last year it was a heavy zone scheme. The year prior and the 3 years prior to that, it was a heavy man scheme with Boyer and Flores, right? So having a much more balanced defense, this is going to be a much better defense all around to be playing around, right? And Awuzie, he doesn't excel at, exactly one thing or another, but he's very fundamental and he's good everywhere on the field. Other free agents include Eli Apple, which I swear to God, if he resigns. CJ Henderson, he's old, maybe a little bit washed. Jeff Okudah, I could definitely see being brought in as a younger guy to kind of be like, look, he hasn't had, I say younger guy, a cheaper guy to be brought in. He's been plagued by injuries his entire career. Maybe he's brought in to kind of just give him a chance. What does it hurt to bring in a guy for the veteran minimum and just be like, we'll see what we can do, right? Rocky Sin, Ronald Darby, once again, older guys. Who knows how much they have left in the tank? I personally don't really want them that much. Daryl Worley and Ahkello Witherspoon, once again, meh. We could just roll with Cam Smith. Now I fell in love with Cam Smith. I hated the pick at first. but I fell in love with Cam Smith during the offseason and the preseason. He had that one bad play, and I swear, for that one bad play in preseason, he was in the doghouse the entire year because of it. And we already know these players do not like Fangio. In fact, Jalen Ramsey practically called out the man and said, I will never forgive him for not utilizing us correctly when addressing Xavier Howard's release. Who else is he going to talk about? That's Fangio. No one liked Fangio in that locker room. So the Dolphins have the 21st overall and the 55th overall pick in the draft. Guys that are there that you could possibly draft. You got Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. Yes, that white corner. Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. In the second round, you guys like Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia, TJ Tampa out of Iowa State, Kalen King out of Penn State, and Chris Abrams Drain out of Missouri. Personally, out of all of these, I think it'd be hilarious that the Dolphins have 2 white corners. So give me Cooper DeJean. Oh wait, that's not the white corner. Oh, my bad. Don't cancel me. Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Look, I don't want to draft a corner in the first round. I believe that we still have a very deep, talented cornerback room. Now, we do have some free agents there. My personal opinion, I'm bringing back Nick Needham. My personal opinion, I'm moving Nick Needham to the boundary. He moved a little bit to safety. You know, I really like Nick Needham. Before that Achilles injury, and look, he only played like 7 snaps the entire season. Like, he's coming off an Achilles injury. We already know that those are one of the toughest injuries to come back from. You're going to need a little bit more than a year to fully get healthy. So I want to bring Nick Needham back. I want to put him, you know, on the boundary. Maybe he's not going to have the same burst that he did on the nickel side, but I'm fine with rotating him and Cater between slot and the boundary because they're both really good with it. I think that's kind of like, it's almost like, okay, if you need 3 corners out there, you have Cater on the right side, you have Nick Needham on the left side, and if you go man to man, then whoever side has the slot receiver on, then bada bang, bada boom, and then you just the other person takes the boundary. Just my personal humble opinion. And then, of course, you have Jalen Ramsey, who's going to be the chess piece that just moves all around the field because he's just like that. And then, once again, you still have Cam Smith. So I'm fine with rolling with the top 4 corners that we currently have with Cam Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Cater Kohu, and if you bring back Nick Needham, he was on a 1-year deal coming off the Achilles. I'm fine with signing him to another 1 year, $1.1 million deal with incentives. Incentive lace this contract. Why not? Make it playing time based. Like, okay, if you play a certain amount of snaps or an average amount of snaps this season, then you get a bonus of $2 million, $3 million, whatever. It doesn't really count against your cap at that point. So why not do it? There's a lot of different moving parts to this Dolphins offseason, and it's going to be really tough to see what they do. Seeing Xavier Howard go, I don't like it. Is what it is. Same thing with Tannehill when he moved, in my opinion, but maybe it's time to move off of him. I still think the Super Bowl window is open. It's going to be interesting seeing what Chris Grier does. He doesn't seem to be too worried, though. All right, guys. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Deuces.